Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we're unpacking the key spy stories and security intelligence updates from the week of December 2025.
And this week, what we're really seeing is a tale of two very different authoritarian playbooks converging.
Exactly. On one side, you have Russia's strategy of, let's call it coercive chaos. On the other, China's systemic discipline and bureaucratic control.
And we're going to explore how these patterns are hitting everywhere, from digital networks to, well, even your social media chats.
So the top themes for you this week. A massive, years-long Russian GRU cyber campaign has just been exposed. We've got escalating PLA coercion around Taiwan. And internally, China's Air Force is in turmoil.
Okay, let's start with Moscow, because the scale of this infiltration is something else.
It is genuinely astonishing. Amazon's threat intel unit just unmasked a huge operation run by Russia's GRU. We're talking Sandworm, APT-44.
And this wasn't a quick smash and grab. This ran, quietly, from 2021 all the way through 2025.
4 years. And the targets: U.S. airports, water facilities in Texas, European energy providers. They're targeting the absolute lifeblood of civilian infrastructure.
And the tradecraft is what's key here. The shifted tactics, they moved to what people are calling living off the land.
Right. So what does that actually mean?
Well, instead of bringing their own advanced tools, they're essentially finding keys that were already lying around. They hijack misconfigured edge routers, VPNs, stuff that's often overlooked.
So they're not breaking down the door, they're just walking in through an unlocked window.
Precisely. It's low noise, high impact. It's incredibly hard to spot until, a reservoir overflows or a logistics system fails.
And this digital chaos is spilling over into the real world in Europe. Berlin actually summoned Moscow's envoy.
They did, after documenting GRU-run disinformation campaigns Fancy Bear and Storm 1516, targeting German elections and even air traffic systems.
Triggered a pretty swift EU response, right? New sanctions.
Yeah, on GRU Unit 29155, among others. But it's not just cyber. Belgian security services reported direct intimidation of Euroclear executives.
The financial settlement firm.
Exactly. The goal is to block the EU from using the interest from Russia's $185 billion in frozen assets to help Ukraine. It's direct, blunt force financial coercion.
And all this feeds into their internal narrative of paranoia, doesn't it? The FSB has been staging these arrests.
It's all about manufacturing a threat to justify control. They arrested people for setting up telecom relays for Ukraine, but then, even more cynically, they arrested others who were blackmailed into sabotage through, of all things, common phone scams.
That is terrifyingly efficient.
It is. They turn victims into perpetrators to fuel the state's propaganda machine.
Okay, so that's the chaos playbook. Now let's pivot to China, which is just a whole different ballgame. Where Russia uses a hammer, Beijing uses systematic disciplined pressure.
The contrast is everything, and you see it perfectly with their new aircraft carrier, the Fujian. It just completed its first transit of the Taiwan Strait.
But the deck was empty, right? It was shattered by Taiwanese jets. This was more of a systems check, a signal, than an immediate combat threat.
The signal is the point, though. It reinforces this relentless, constant PLA presence. We're talking over 3,500 Chinese sorties near Taiwan just this year. Daily incursions.
They are normalizing the idea of their presence, making it routine.
And analysts are calling 2025 an inflection year. The PLA's physical coercion is becoming normal, just as Beijing is laying the legal groundwork for cognitive and legal warfare.
And that's happening on the cyber front, too. We saw ESAT and Checkpoint expose clusters like Long-Nosed Goblin and Ink Dragon.
Right, Ink Dragon was caught repurposing European government servers to relay malware. Very disciplined, very systematic.
But the most extraordinary thing has to be the Ministry of State Security, the MSS, issuing a warning about anime.
It sounds bizarre, but it's dead serious. They claim foreign spies are recruiting Chinese youth through anime and online games to erode cultural confidence.
So anime is now a national security threat.
To them, yes. It's part of their push for total security autarky. Everything, from culture to code, must be internally controlled.
And as they project this strength internally, things are shaking. The CCP's anti-corruption dragnet has just engulfed the entire Air Force leadership.
It's a huge purge. Analysts think it could even topple the commander, Chang Ting-chu. It's this paradox where the drive for control risks paralyzing your own military procurement.
And we saw a similar purge in the security apparatus in Xinjiang, too.
Yeah.
So if we pull back and synthesize this for you, what do these two playbooks have in common?
The objective. Moscow's chaos and Beijing's discipline are both designed to do one thing: erode Western unity and exhaust our ability to respond.
And they're both using state-directed but deniable operators to do it.
Exactly. China uses its MSS provincial bureaus, blending local economic interests into global cyber missions. Russia uses commercial proxies, like the Moran security group operatives found on that tanker near Denmark.
So what's the strategic picture for you? In Europe, you're facing these overlapping Russian threats, network infiltration, financial intimidation. In Asia, the flashpoints around Taiwan and Japan are coalescing into one continuous contest.
The bottom line is authoritarian resilience through hybrid adaptation. They are making these contests constant, costly, and incredibly difficult to attribute.
A perfect summary. The key takeaways. The sheer scale of the GRU's 4-year infiltration campaign, the dual digital and physical pressure on Europe, and China's balancing act between projecting power and managing deep internal purges.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. We see China risking paralysis in its own air force to enforce control. Russia is all in on asymmetric leverage. So if this hybrid adaptation is their key to resilience, what's the next step? What do they do when living off the land tactics inevitably get blocked? What's the next level of deniable escalation?
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive.